Welcome to the FMCG Guys, the podcast that dives into the innovation, strategy, and trends shaping consumer goods and retail in Europe and beyond.
Welcome to the FMCG Guys podcast. I'm Daniel Torres, your usual co-host, accompanied by Christina Nicolau, another usual co-host. Hi, Christina, how are you?
Hi, Daniel. I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, very good. And welcome everyone to a new episode. Hope you've started the year 2024 on a positive note. And before we get into today's episode, want to give you a shout out. We're now available on Instagram. Well, available, I don't know if that's the right word, but we're on Instagram as well. So if you search FMCG Guys on this social network, you'll find our usual content. So it's a great way basically to stay up to date on like our latest episodes, for example, which are not always top of mind necessarily. But we'll also be publishing like behind the scenes material, which you won't find in any other social networks. And plus, there's a special bonus. You can send us direct messages of all our content. So if you don't like what we're doing, you can tell us very directly. And if you like it, you can actually leave a review on your favorite podcast player that you're using right now. So that's a good idea as well. So Christina, we're going to be talking today with two very interesting people. On one hand, we have Mark Jagger, who's the global head of commercial at Sanofi Consumer Healthcare. So the consumer healthcare side of the big pharma company Sanofi. And on the other side, we'll have his partner in crime in digitalization, Alain Attias, who's the CEO at the IT consulting company specialized on Salesforce, BayBridge Digital. Why are we having this conversation today?
First of all, it's a conversation I'm very keen to have. I would say that there are a lot of companies around the world, bigger and smaller, that are going through this digital transformation journey right now. And especially for the bigger ones, they would rarely go on this journey alone. They would usually choose an external partner to help guide them and accelerate, let's say, the steps that are outside their usual day-to-day business, right? So I think it's a really interesting opportunity for our listeners, as we will have both sides in one podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's a lot of conversation about e-commerce. Obviously, we've talked about it long in this podcast, but I think that it's interesting to know what happens like behind the scenes within the day-to-day jobs of people in companies, and specifically in the commercial department, to see what implications digitization have. You've probably seen it yourself in your day job, no?
Yes, for sure. And also the B2B part is quite big, and how you are digitizing your route to market and evolving the role or enhancing the role of the sales reps, right? And also CRM is a big part of it. And I guess we're going also to hear the name of Salesforce, which is one of the best known CRM companies and softwares out there.
Yeah, so very keen to hear from Mark and Alain how they've been partnering in the digital transformation of Sanofi Consumer's commercial organization.
My name is Mark Jagger, and I lead Sanofi Consumer Healthcare's commercial function globally, managing both trade marketing, revenue growth management, and digital transformation journey.
Hi, my name is Alain Attias. I'm the founder and CEO of BayBridge Digital.
Amazing. Welcome, guys. Daniel, I was thinking back on the episodes we've recorded recently, and I cannot think, I believe, of one where we didn't mention the word digital. It feels like it's everywhere. And when companies talk about digitization, usually people's minds go a lot towards e-commerce. But I'm wondering, guys, if you could tell us a little bit more about what else is there? How are companies evolving digitally, kind of like behind the scenes?
Look, I mean, I can jump straight into that one for you, Christine. I mean, look, digital is a broad term, right? It means everything from how we engage our consumers through direct-to-consumer marketing and social media, all the way through to our hardware and our laptops today. But what I can tell you, certainly in Sanofi, and I think every big MNC around the world today, digital, in inverted commas, I would say, is really going to be the growth driver of the future. So if you look at it, we use it in our R&D to identify patients more accurately and faster that we can use as part of our clinical trials. We use it now in direct-to-consumer marketing to generate personalized content faster. So it is absolutely embedded within every part of the organization that we operate in, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, I would say. And certainly it's definitely more advanced in other areas than some. But, for me, digital is this broad, all-encompassing term, but it is now absolutely omnipresent and almost omnipotent, I would say, when it comes to MNC's growth strategies.
How do you see it, Alain, from your vantage point as well, working with different clients and so on?
Digital is everywhere. Digital is the way we support the business. It's the way to take the competitive advantage for our customers. But I would say no, digitization is moving from digital from everywhere to data and AI everywhere. So the new frontier now for digitization is leveraging and monetizing the data that the gold mine of data that our customer owns.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Alain, we certainly use probably only 5% of what we have. So how we figure that out, I think, is going to be the key to success.
Absolutely. So yeah.
And that's what they say, right? That in terms of data, you'll probably know the number better, but it's like, there's more data created in one day than in the last, than the last 20 years or something like that. It's not exactly like that, obviously, but.
Yes, we have created in the past year more than data that we have created in the past 2,000 years.
There you go. Wow. So, and that means that if you put 2022, 2021, and so on together, 2023 has created more than all the years prior together?
Absolutely.
Wow.
So I guess the question is not how you get more data, but how you get better quality and how you make the best use out of it, where the complexity comes in the business.
Yeah, exactly. How you organize it, right? That's the absolute biggest challenge, getting it organized. And you see that you've got 1 million data points, but until you organize it, until you understand it, until you can turn it into a narrative or an insight, there's no value in having 20 million data points. So that is an absolute massive challenge. I can tell you, certainly from a technical perspective, from a capability perspective. Well, so it's a huge opportunity for every company out there.
Yeah, you bet. And Mark, we're talking about digital to a global sales guy, which we wouldn't normally associate to digital because there's no digital in your title. And normally when we talk about digitization behind the scenes, we think, for example, of digital marketing around that area more than anything. How are you seeing it impacting sales, like global sales? You mentioned trade marketing, for example, and CRM, for example. How is digital affecting those parts of the business that maybe we don't talk about that much?
Well, I think, first of all, I've been really fortunate that Sanofi have kind of supported me to do this dual role. And the reason we really pushed and I pushed for that role is to say, your digital tools are only as good as your business processes, and they're only as good as the design work that goes behind them in terms of how you want to operate, how you want to engage. So that's really been the reason behind the dual role of putting those two together. And what that's meant is I've been really lucky to be able to drive changes in our trade marketing approach, where how do we utilize image recognition better to understand our planogram compliance? Is that driving sales correctly or not? But then how do we integrate, or how do we design our technology, or let's say adapt existing technologies that we've bought into to actually deliver against those priorities much better? So image recognition, I think, is a fantastic example of one area. Revenue growth management is another area where deploying a TPM really allows you to design, your promotional ROI, your strategy, and then, as Alain said, how do we use AI in the future? And I think that's very much the next step, to design what the perfect trade marketing customer engagement plan should be. So for me, having the two together has been an absolute dream job, and has really given me that chance to really drive the design of the digital tools that we're putting in place to try and fit the business processes we want to have for the future.
And I love what you said, that your digital tools are only as good as your processes are. I guess this goes hand in hand with lots of change management internally, but it also has a big impact in the wider network, right? So your customers and as well as your consumers. So how do you see this whole transformation journey that you're on impacting them?
I mean, look, I'll jump in here, Alan, but I'll let you finish it, I think. But for me, the reason we do this is for our customers and our consumers at the end of the day, right? We want to provide a better service. For us to be competitive in the marketplace, in a ever more complex, more, let's say, competitive, working space, the reason we do it is for them. So, if you, and I think we'll probably go into a bit more detail later on around data and CRMs and B2B marketplaces and all these, exciting things, but the reason we do it is for them, to give them access to our products in an easier way when they want it, at the time they want it, in the way they want it. And if we can build better relationships with our customers, provide a better service, then that at the end of the day will then provide our consumers with, better product availability, better choice on shelf, and a better ability to treat themselves as they move forward.
You said, just to add, absolutely, totally agree with you, Mark, but just to add, if we just take one step back, I think what you did is to reinvent, to revolutionize the business model of your business and your industry in the consumer healthcare, reinventing a new business model, new processes, and the way you service your customers at CHC, the way and how you will engage online, the way you will engage digitally and everywhere, from B2B, B2C, B2B2B, everywhere. And you did it.
Yeah, which we can go on a little bit, because I'm I'm keen to understand how you guys have been collaborating between Sanofi and BayBridge. So interested to know, what were the key capabilities that are normally missing in commercial organizations?
Yeah.
Where to start?
Yeah, where to start? But I don't want to go and deep dive into which specific capabilities. Every organization can always improve, right? Every organization always has development areas in specific places. Is it, again, as I said, is it RGM? Is it go to market? Is it brand strategy? Is it how important the customer is within the company and the culture of customer? But I think the two things that I think are really hard are having the right attitude, right? Do we have an organization that has the right attitude to, as Christine said, as she mentioned, change management, really adopt and drive that change and want to be forward-looking and want to be proactive with how they look at the future of technology and how it's going to impact the way they work? I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing is identifying talents that have that skill set that sit across both digital and the commercial sphere, because it's really rare to find people that either have worked in both or want to work in both, even though, in my mind, that's the future of the sales and commercial function. Is it's going to be heavily digitized. It's going to be heavily driven by AI. Customer engagement is going to be driven by that. But today, it's a limited skill set out in the marketplace. And so for me, that piece around having the right attitude and the right mindset, and then identifying people that have got an understanding of, if my process functions this way, how do I then embed that into a digital tool to ensure that I give a streamlined, seamless experience, but it still reflects the process? I think that for me is what's missing today a little bit. And it's certainly the hardest part of the journey. I think, I certainly feel it's been the hardest part, Alan. I don't know about you.
You see, the challenge that I see, and the main challenge was or is always to align the digital and the data strategy with the business strategy, with the business goal. And that's mainly the main challenge that we had at Sanofi CHC. And because the digital platform is, at the end of the day, just a tool to support the new business processes and the new business model.
So let us get it a little bit from the beginning of the journey, right? So we have Sanofi and we have BayBridge Digital, and you guys came together. Tell us a little bit more about what it is that you're doing together in Sanofi.
I mean, look, I'll certainly start. I can tell you it wasn't an easy coming together. So I definitely tell Alan, smiles Riley at that one. We certainly put BayBridge through their paces to identify the right partner to help us on this journey. And, that they had to do a fairly, I would say, long interview process for that. But, what we've been doing over the last, I say, 2.5 years has really been, as I said, originally looking at our existing business processes, which is a very fragmented, country-driven approach to how we want to go to market, trying to design and centralize and globalize, and in particular, simplify them and make them much more customer-focused than they have been in the past. Going from contracts with 2,000 different components and counterparts to getting that down to 10, and really how do we, make those effective? But then, once that had been defined, and actually we did a lot of work in parallel, which is a big learning for me, certainly, maybe not always the best approach, but to actually build those digital tools. So we selected Salesforce.com as our new CRM partner. We started off with a very historical offline CRM solution, very focused on the medical part of our business, not focused on our customer and our retailer. The reason why I think we were one of the first big multinational OTC companies to jump into Salesforce as a partner for us from a platform point of view. I don't know, Alan, if we were the first, but I know we were one of the first. And we've been doing that along with obviously a reinvention of our data platform at the back end, that starting to try and organize that data into something that can be used to create forecasting models and also guide our sales reps as they go to meet pharmacists. So that's really been what we've been doing over the last 2.5 years is redesigning our business processes, building out and designing our CRM and data platforms. And then obviously right now we're in the middle of deploying that. So we've finished 1 year of deployment. We've done, I don't know how many countries we've now done, Alan, but probably we're up to about 7 or 8 major markets for us we've deployed in the first year. And we have a roadmap to carry on that journey into 2024.
Amazing. Just if we come back to the beginning, as you said, how we engaged together and we started our journey together. My point is always about change management, as you said, and change management starts from day one. And from the very beginning, it was clear for me that, of course, Sanofi is transforming themselves. Sanofi CSC is finding and searching for and looking for a new platform, a new digital platform, but also for a new partner. And it was a challenge for us. The challenge for us was to explain them that they need also to change their way and their mindset in terms of partnership. And the way they select their partners, the way they engage with their partner. So we explained that, and I think it was the thing that we insisted on, and it was a differentiator for us. And for them, moving from large, big players to a digital pure player. And to me, it was very important for us to help them to navigate in this new ecosystem, show them and explain them in advance all the risks, the challenges that they may face in the future if they go in this direction. What are the benefits if they make this decision? And all this create and the agility and the continuous conversation was a key advantage. And for us, it was it was critical for us to become, from the very beginning, their trusted advisor, to ultimately become their trusted partner.
Are you a savvy consumer insight professional with an interest in AI applications and market research? Discover BullChat AI, the pioneering AI-powered qualitative consumer research platform that's reshaping the consumer insight landscape. Picture this scenario. effortlessly connecting with your target audience, posing bespoke questions, and receiving insightful responses to address your business queries, all neatly compiled into an actionable report within a mere 24 hours. Bolt Chat AI streamlines the research process, enabling you to make agile, well-informed decisions at a fraction of the conventional cost. Curious to experience the efficiency firsthand? Visit www.boltchatai.com and embark on your free trial today.
I wonder just what is the biggest objection that, or the objection that you most commonly hear? Is it like, I don't understand this? Is it that I don't need this? Or we've always done it this way and I don't want to change? What is it usually?
All of them.
All of them or none of them.
Yeah.
Seriously, you see, companies, enterprise company, large companies like Sanofi, CSC used to issue RFP, RFI, and go for tenders, and you see they get reply, and at the end of the day, the answer that they got from the big player are more or less the same. The price is more or less the same, and we don't see innovation. We don't see any transformation. So what we try to do is from the very beginning, and we work with a very, let's say, short team, very small team, okay, day and night with the digital team of Sanofi during 3-4 months to design to in a kind of workshop mode, okay, every day it was like a beauty contest, okay, to show the capabilities from a technology point of view, the roadmap point of view, the business alignment, the change management, the pricing model, all the challenges that you can encounter and you can see and you can find in this kind of a huge global program.
So you were anticipating potential hurdles in the transformation project ahead of time, which nobody likes to hear our problems, but it probably also gave you, well, in hindsight, it was probably a good idea to anticipate these, and it also gives you a lot of credibility as a subject matter expert, ultimately.
Yes, of course, yes. But you see, what we've been showing and sharing is just experience and success stories that we have in the past. You see, leading for Mark or for people like Mark, for CDOs, or leading this kind of huge global transformation program happens once in a life. See, it takes 3-4 years. Okay, it happened once or twice in life. We at BayBridge Digital, we have done many. Okay, so and we learn from our mistakes. So we share the only mistakes, and you see, this is what we call experiences.
Yeah, no, it's a good synthesis. That mistakes is experience at the end of the day, and
sorry, and just to be more specific, the things, the roadmap, the approach, the methodology that we used to recommend, or what we used to do 10 years ago are completely different with what we do today and what we recommend today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see that in my world of executive search and even in terms of business development and contacting people. I was actually speaking with someone today about how email is not as important as it was before. But anyway, going back to the topic, Mark, for people that are listening that are planning to do digital transformation or in the middle of it or are really stuck with it, a lot of times that is due to like internal resistance, if you like, or stakeholder management not done well. How have you managed to like get people to work for you without being their boss, which is a lot of times what happens when you're doing internal projects?
I think, Daniel, is one of the biggest challenges, as you said, that every company faces, and we've certainly faced. I think it starts off with really defining what the future scenario looks like and getting that buy-in at a senior level. So for us, it was very much a transformation from a sales rep walking into a store with no data on the pharmacist, not understanding what they've sold last month, not understanding what type of media they've consumed over that time period, to being able to give a sales rep the tools to walk into a pharmacy and say, last month you sold, X thousand boxes of mucosolvent, that represents this, percentage of profitability for you. You've consumed this type of media on our B2B platform. Maybe we could give you a personalized message. So first thing for me was really getting buy-in around, let's say, the dream scenario. And that's got to come, absolutely, from the top, and you've got to have all of your stakeholders bought into that. And I think the way you do that is really, it's at that level, it's one-to-one engagements. It's understanding the challenges they face, taking the feedback on board, understanding and adapting that model to build out that sort of, let's say, fully embedded and bought into stakeholder management. Where I think it starts to get a lot more difficult is as you go a little bit lower down the chain towards the sort of heads of sales in the countries who are very much focused on delivering sales targets every single day, as they absolutely should be, and they should be focusing on their customer. These types of projects, as Alain said, 3 or 4 years, take a lot of time, take a lot of resource. So there again, it's about painting that picture of what's in it for them, how to make the process as painful or as painless, let's say, as possible. Not painful, very certainly painless as possible. And really, again, getting them to buy into the journey that you're going on so that they can see in the future, this is going to benefit them on a personal level. And you can do that, whether it's this is going to drive sales, it's going to drive profitability, or, we had a lot of conversations with people about saying, this will actually increase your skill set as an individual leader. It's going to develop people that you've got on your team to say, okay, you've actually done a big global digital deployment in your country. There are very few people that have actually been through that in their career, and it's a great skill set. So I think it's about personalizing that stakeholder engagement journey, getting people to buy into it, often on a one-to-one level. As it comes to the field force and obviously a larger group of engagements, that's where, a lot of it depends on the tool that you've built and how you can, make it as simple and as easy as possible. Alain might remember I put up a slide right at the beginning of this journey where I think I said 4 things, and I'll see if I can remember all 4, but one of them was I wanted it to be as easy to use as Apple. I didn't want to have any Microsoft Excel. I think I put a picture of Bill Gates up and crossed his face off or something like that. So, and I didn't ever want to have to train a user. That was always my ambition, to never have to train a user, because I don't know about you, Daniel, Christine, if you've ever been trained on how to use Instagram or Facebook or X or Twitter, whatever it is, you've never been trained on that. So why in your work life should you be trained on tools? And so for me, that's about building that story and how you get that engagement in stakeholder management early on.
Getting that great UX, let's say, from design on, so that it feels easy and kind of like natural in a way to navigate, for sure. Yeah. So let's say that you get the senior buy-in, and then you get into the market level and you tap into people's business and personal agendas, and then you have a project to kick off and you guys partner together. How were you working and coordinating on who was doing what's each person's or its party's job here when it comes to transforming and having an external partner coming in?
Alain, one for you, I think, to start off with.
You see, I will tell you something about the way we were organized, and I will share with you something very personal. Actually, Mark I compare a CDO leading this kind of huge global transformation program as a CEO of a small company. He was leading the organization, the people, the food, the roadmap, everything. Okay, and he was managing everything and working all around the clock. But there is one thing that was very personal that I liked so much in this program. The weekly one that I had every week with Mark, sharing things very critical, very strategic for the program, and we were focusing on what will make tomorrow different from today. Every week we had this conversation during 1 hour every Friday, thinking and talking about the challenges, the hurdles, and how we will change the problem. Mark had a huge team, people from multiple partners, from Salesforce, from BayBridge Digital, and from other companies. And at the end of the day, aligning all those people, aligning internal stakeholder was a challenge, but it was easy for the team. But we were focusing only on what will make this program different from other programs and how we will change the life of people at CHC. When I say people, I mean the end user of Sanofi, CHC, and ultimately the customers of CHC.
Yeah, and I would say, from my side, I would split BayBridge into two entities for me. There's the work that BayBridge have done technically to support and step in at every opportunity and challenge from a digital point of view. But also, I think, as Alain said, for me, he's been a trusted advisor, and I've often put him in a pretty uncomfortable situation, sitting somewhere between me and Salesforce, him being a product expert, and he's done 1,000 of these before. And again, how do you utilize your people and your teams and your contacts and your network and your peers to best deliver the project? And often putting Alain in uncomfortable situations where I could channel concerns, where I could channel requests through him into Salesforce was really helpful. So I kind of, I would split a little bit BayBridge into two for me, and how we utilize them. And it's not that they're separate entities, Alain and BayBridge at all. It's very much they come as one package, I think. But that's certainly been, for me, something that's worked very, very well is to be able to use and have people in that way in the team to drive through doors. I mean, that is the single biggest challenge with this project is, every single day there is a new problem pops up, even if it's, it's the smallest thing where in your, let's say gap to fit exercise where you're identifying what a country needs, they forget to tell you about a sales channel which represents 0.5% of their business, but for them it's obviously critical. So and then all of a sudden you're backtracking and rebuilding your data structure. So those small things happen every single day. Offline, it was a massive conversation for us, and we spent months working with local teams around that, and the BayBridge team did a lot of additional work to help us understand that challenge. And one thing that's been really interesting, Alain, I don't know if you've seen the data, but we haven't used offline once.
This is exactly what I told you from the very beginning. Everyone at some point will be online. No one will continue to work offline. I have just to give you more context about this. All those conversations, because we were using a very, let's say, new release of Salesforce, of CG Cloud, with new product, new sub-client and capabilities. And we were also doing something, let's say, out of the box, using CG Cloud for, let's say, a healthcare business or selling medicine and drugs, you see. And so we were not selling, you do not sell a Doliprane, for example, as like you sell a shampoo at Procter & Gamble, okay? And you do not sell Doliprane as you sell a regulated product. So we had to invent and use and leverage the best of what we had in the CG Cloud platform.
And in the countries where you've rolled out the digitalization in a commercial organization, can you give me some examples of things that are really palpable that the employee that's carrying the bag for Sanofi, how are they feeling this digitization in their business, in their day-to-day?
Look, so first of all, Daniel, it's definitely not been a smooth sailing journey. I'm never going to sit here and say it's been perfect. And if anyone at Sanofi listens to this, they'll definitely want me to say that message. But a good example in France in 2022, a sales rep was using 11 different applications. They now use one. So you're talking about a massive simplification in the way that they go to market. They've now got absolutely everything in one platform. They can see their sales performance, they can place an order, they can do their route planning. It's all in one place. So what you've gone from is a laptop and tablet and phone to having everything in your mobile device. if you want, depending on your country's preferences, but it's all in one place. So that enables them to kind of start to bring that journey together. You can product detail, you can, again, you can talk pricing, you can talk promotions, you can sign contracts all in one space. So I think that's been the single biggest, I think, simplification we've seen in terms of the digital journey. If you look at it and talk about our customers for a second, because I think they're at the end of the day, the people that are most important for us. One part of this journey for us was putting in place a B2B e-commerce platform as well, which for me is going to be the future of how we engage with customers, whether it's marketplaces or direct B2B e-commerce platforms. Who knows? And we can probably debate that for 10 hours. But, we've seen in France, right, that's been live for probably about 9-10 months maybe. And we've had about 1,600 orders in that platform already. It's a fairly challenging marketplace to deal in. That equates to about 530 hours of time of a sales rep, right? So that's a significant amount of time saved. And it's also giving the pharmacist the ability to order what they want when they want. And so really personalizing that journey. And I think that's the start of the digitization journey where we're going on. And we certainly haven't maximized what we've put in place yet. I wouldn't sit here and say that, but we are starting to see some rewards in the tools that we've put in place.
And this sounds amazing, Mark. And I have just a small follow-up question with regards to the B2B e-commerce platform. You said that it has saved a lot of time to the sales reps, but I guess this was not the only goal, right? So in what other ways do you see it helping? Is it more about expanding coverage or just offering an overall better experience to the existing customers?
Well, both and more, Christine. So I think, first of all, we want to obviously provide access to our products with as much distribution as possible. And the benefit of a B2B platform will be different in different countries, right? But from that perspective, the thing for me is, again, it goes back to that personalized experience. In the past, we used to watch TV, right? And everyone knows this kind of let's say, representation when you talk about Blockbuster and Netflix and how that's changed. Well, in the past, everybody consumed media when they had to, when it was on TV. Now people want to consume when they want and what they want. And so by building out a B2B platform, not only can, retailers consume, or let's say deliver their tasks and action their tasks whenever they want, they can also consume the media they want. So we can reach out to them, we can provide content, we can educate them, we can potentially train them. They can also, let's say, see their deliveries, see their delivery slots, identify, how they're doing on their contracts. They've got a whole host of tools in there that didn't exist before or only were at the hands of the sales rep. So I think that's the big benefit for them is they get this kind of greater service than they are the best. The big piece for us is we get data, right? So we can go and now start to have a more personalized engagement with them, right? So we can say, okay, last month, this pharmacist was looking at these 3 articles. Maybe we should go and talk to them in a personalized way next visit. So that's the dream, right? I think that's where, we want to get to, and that's certainly possible, I think, with the tech that we've bought. So now it's just about making it a reality every single day.
And I would say, just to add on the B2B, it is also a question of pushing the more and more the self-ordering and the self-care on the customer side, and helping to let's say to lower the cost of sales ultimately, and bringing more efficiency and bringing more let's say improve the experience for the end customer. So it is also what we see on the consumer healthcare is that we see that customers are let's say trying to find the right balance between the sales rep, the field sales rep, and the B2B and the let's say the self-ordering. I don't know if you confirm this trend, Mark.
No, I mean, definitely, right? It's how's that sales rep role evolving over time, right? And how will it continue to evolve in the future? It's going to be a role that will change by taking away manual tasks, right? Which is one of the good things a B2B platform does. It actually enables a sales rep to have more time to spend understanding the customer, more time potentially building out something more personalized, more customized, and doing something that will drive sales out as opposed to focusing on sales in, which is not where we want to be at all. So that's the big benefit for B2B, and that balance between a sales rep understanding the role that a B2B platform can play. It's not replacing them. It's actually enhancing their job and enhancing their ability to do their job. That's the change management message you have to deliver as you go through that journey. And that's not always an easy one to drive.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we're seeing more and more across the board, that really the fact that digital is becoming so present also means that you have to balance it with a strong interpersonal experience. So for example, in supermarkets, we're seeing like kind of the same evolution, where we went from assuming that there would be no employees in the stores to having that digital experience, but also having the employees in store retrained to deliver that superior customer experience, which ultimately means more sales, no?
Yeah. No, exactly, right. And it's happening across all walks of life. And it's the unique point of difference that humans offer, right, versus AI. It's the unique point of difference that we offer versus digital tools. So that, I think, is definitely here to stay. And the companies that, address that in the best way are the ones that are going to win in the future.
Yeah. And guys, you both have had very interesting careers. Mark, you more in the corporate ladder, and Alain more in the entrepreneurial digital space. We have this one question that we ask all the guests that come to the FMCG, guys, which is, with everything that you've learned in your career, if you went back to yourself after you graduated and you were entering the workforce, what would be that one piece of advice you would give yourself? Maybe, Alain, you can start.
So I don't have one piece of advice. Tons of advice. Because, I'm a dinosaur in this industry. But I would say I would recommend to everyone starting their career, and this is the advice that I give to my son: be curious, be always curious, and keep learning every day. Challenge the status quo. This is what Mark did, challenging the status quo every day. And don't be afraid to do the extra mile. And there is a quote that I love, is, there is no traffic jam along the extra mile.
What about you, Mark?
Again, like Alain probably could give many, but if you just want one, I think it would be, get everybody on the bus. I think a team can deliver so much more than an individual can. An individual can spark change, an individual can challenge, an individual can push new ideas. But to make it really happen, to make it live, to make it come alive, you need to get everybody on the bus. And that for me, it goes back to that, having a personalized engagement with people to understand it also. For me, always a team can deliver more than an individual can. And so I would say, make sure you continue to use the people around you the best way possible to develop yourself and then deliver whatever goals you're trying to achieve.
This was Alain Attias, CEO at BayBridge Digital, and Mark Jagger, Global Head of Commercial at Sanofi Consumer Healthcare. Christina, what are your main takeaways of the conversation?
I guess we had high expectations having people from both sides of the business and the partnering company, and they didn't disappoint. It's clear that it is a big challenge to be able to align the business strategy that the company has with their data and digital strategy, and to be able to influence across and from top to bottom in order to be able to get everyone on board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was very interesting to hear Alain saying about, like, really even in the initial engagement with Sanofi, when at the pitch stage, if you like, to be very honest about like all the different hurdles they would find, and really being aware. It's also the value of working with a specialist versus working with a generalist, right? Which actually resounds a lot with my day job as a headhunter specialized in consumer goods and retail. After 10 years of work, I can also really identify with what he's saying.
I love that he said that they mentioned the mistakes and what has gone wrong in the past, right? Because everyone can imagine the perfect future and the perfect outcome and what success would look like. But we all know that the path is not smooth. And being able to have someone with you who has been there, done that, and seen what can go wrong is actually bringing a lot of value.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he said experiences mistakes, right? So that was
right.
To summarize it. What other things did you learn today?
I loved how Mark was talking about influencing people, and that's based on a couple of things that I'm a firm believer in, which is when you're trying to influence someone, you need to talk about how they're going to get benefits for their business strategy, how this is going to also benefit their operations, and as well as their personal agenda. So you need to figure out, why is this taking me in the direction I want to go? Why is this going to simplify things for me and enhance the things that I've already set up in terms of processes and the way people work? But then finally, it's always good to remember that you're speaking to a person who has personal goals and they want to look good. They want to advance their skills. They have some personal goals in terms of what their next steps are and what you're offering them is going to help them get there.
Yeah, no, I think that personalization of stakeholder management was really interesting, because sometimes I think we may think about it as doing a presentation to everyone and then you get buy-in, and obviously it doesn't work like that, does it?
No, it never does, actually.
You're in a strategy role, you know that.
Yeah, I kind of know some things about that.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting to learn about as well how this digitization can actually make an impact on the day-to-day jobs of like the sales reps, like going from 11 apps to one app. I thought was very interesting. And then how that empowers people, and actually it's not like it eliminates jobs, it just changes jobs, really.
Yes, and it's actually one of the biggest challenges that you need to overcome, because the whole narrative around moving forward with technology, you can see it all around you now with AI, is the fear of jobs being lost. But here you need to really talk about how you're enhancing an existing role and how you can make these people's lives easier and their jobs better.
Yeah, and then we talked about a topic which I think will be big this year, which is EB2B. That's something that's becoming really, really hot lately.
Yes, overall, the digitization of route to market is something that we hear a lot more about. And it feels like we start to understand as businesses that the business owners of a retailer or the decision makers within a customer organization, they are actually people, and they are looking for the same kind of experience that they get as consumers when it comes to their job. So I do firmly agree with what Mark said, that B2B e-commerce platforms are going to be the future, or they kind of already are, I would argue, even that being either in the form of a marketplace or those direct platforms that are being used, that are able to not just make order taking easier or just expand distribution, right? But it's rather about being able to engage with the person that sits at the other side of the screen, deliver content to them, engage with them, give them that personalized experience.
Yeah. So it's that mix of like tech enhanced ultra personalization through digital, but also personal means, if you like, would actually kind of reflect on the part that we were talking about as well at the beginning of the conversation about like partnership, like between Alain and Mark. It's yes, at the technical level, which is a hard skill, if you like, but also at a very advisory level, no? So I think there's an interesting correlation there.
And not just a correlation, it's also a necessity. And I guess a lot of our listeners here would be going through some kind of digital transformation in their company. So you're not just looking for a partner who can do the coding. You're looking for someone who can hold your hand throughout the whole process, who is able to problem solve for you and be able to react really fast and adapt to your needs. And I guess this is what made this partnership between Sanofi and BayBridge so successful. And we saw already how happy they are that people are not using offline, but rather they're all online already.
Yeah. And they dare to come on the podcast together. So that's already a good sign. So thanks everyone for listening in again. Remember, as I said at the beginning, we're available on Instagram. Start following us there. I'll add We'll add the link on the show notes. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode, either Saturday or Wednesday, or on both actually, Saturday or Wednesday, of the FMCG Guys.